okay, this is perfect. I can tell my first story, how when I met. So, it's a better story if we go to earlier in the night, in my opinion. But it was one of the first weekends out. Freshman year, I was on the softball team, and we went out with other teammates, and it was one of the first few weekends we went out. I think it was the first or second weekend of people going out. It doesn't matter. I think it was the first weekend. So we went to a baseball party early on too that was really bad. Can't overstate how bad. Like, we all walked in, like half the softball team walked in to most of the baseball team just sitting on couches and sitting in chairs in a circle, and they wouldn't interact with us. We were like, okay. So that was awkward. Bad impression of the baseball team. It didn't really go up from there. And then I need to put this AirPod away because it's not doing anything right now, and it's just bothering me. This walk is beautiful. So we have Shanna, freshman year, softball, bad baseball party, lame baseball party with her teammates. And then, I don't know if it was that night or a different night, that weekend or the next weekend, but we went to the football house. And at the football house, side note, I'm getting so distracted by thinking about how I have this broken off. And it wasn't intentional at the start, but it became intentional so that no one could pickpocket me. Because if I can barely open it, guess what? They're not opening it either, okay? So, tips. Break your bag so other people don't want it. And then, or like can't easily get into it. So, back to the story. We were at the football house, and my friend, do I use names? Man, I don't know if I use names, real names or not. That's hard. Damn. Okay, I decided I'm gonna actively try to not use people's names. So, I was at this football party, freshman year, with teammates. A close teammate of mine had a really cute friend who I was interested in, and both I and one of my other teammates verbalized our interest in said person. And it's funny because I just recalled this in talking to a different friend just right before recording this, where I was laughing thinking, because we're going to a wedding together, and she said something about how she was excited about the groomsmen that were going to be there. She goes, that one, I call dibs. And I just started laughing because I immediately thought of this time, freshman year, like things in the past few days, basically like since the solstice, keep reminding me of the time that was all around the beginning of finding a relationship. So it's really interesting to me. And so she reminded me of how that happened a lot freshman year, where so like girls we'd be like, oh, I call dibs, like I call him. And I remember just always trying to convey, like, it frustrated the crap out of me because I just remember always thinking, and still believe now, that you can't call dibs because you don't know what the connection is going to be. Once people actually meet, there's either something or there's not, and then all you do is feel guilty if like your friend called dibs but you and that person actually have a connection. And I don't know, to me it's the like like, I think of, one of the only times I can really remember like calling dibs on someone was this kid who moved to my high school, I think like halfway through high school or like halfway through freshman, halfway through something. And I remember telling my friends, oh, I called dibs, but then I met him and there's nothing wrong with him, but we just didn't vibe. And so it was just nothing, you know? And people can be cute, you can be attracted to them, but if you don't have a connection, then what's the point? And then you're just taking away opportunity from your friends. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, guys? So, anyway, my softball teammate tried to do this for this guy that was our mutual teammate's friend. And I remember being so annoyed. I literally was like, no, you don't. Because no. And I ended up talking to him that night, and then she came up, like physically walked into our conversation, and I was like, why are you here? I remember I was so furious that she did that. And then she ended up going away, and by the end of the night he invited me to go with him to the hockey house, and I was gonna go, but my teammates were all, no, you can't go alone with a guy, you're a freshman, and like, we can't have you be doing that. And I tried to make the argument that it's our teammate's friend, but the rest of them, because that said friend was not present, and then all the other girls just were like, nope, you're coming with us. And I think I'm like a whole slew of things, and it depends on the situation, but overall I have people-pleasing issues. So I went with them and not with this guy. And it's a bummer for so many reasons, but the highlight of why it's a bummer is because that guy ended up in the MLB, and the guy that I ended up getting engaged to cheated on me for 5.5 years while I didn't get to have sex. So, you know, when some lose some. Yeah, that's a bummer. I don't know, I think it's kind of funny, but that was just the short version, the fast version of that story. However, the longer version is long. So where did we leave off? We had the fact that the long story short of it is that the guy I didn't get in the car with to go to the hockey house ended up being an all-star in the MLB, and instead I went with my teammates to the hockey house. I met who would become my boyfriend, who would become my fiance, who would become my ex-fiancé, who cheated throughout the whole thing. So, you know, I guess everything happens for a reason. On paper, that looks so unfortunate for me. But that's okay, because I like me now. And without those decisions, I wouldn't be exactly where I am. So, yay for that, you know? And anyhow, I went to the hockey house with my friends, my teammates, and I always find he never liked to tell this story because it doesn't matter which one of us tell it, it's not a great story. Sorry, that's loud. No matter which one of us is telling it, it's not a great story. Because from my perspective, I remember going up and talking to him because I thought he was cute, but also because he wasn't talking to anyone. And I really just always find the person at parties who feel the most lonely. So he doesn't like when I tell the story, because that's like why I approached him. And then again, the same girl, the same teammate who came up and interrupted my conversation with the MLB guy, came up during my conversation with my ex-fiance, came up to us. We're in the hockey house, and she interrupts me because our other teammate, her boyfriend, was like doing drugs in the upstairs. I was gonna say attic. They weren't in the attic. That's creepy. But I walked all the way back to the bus station. That's significant. Shit. Well, anyway. I should go to Munich. I need food. Okay, so twice now, my teammate has interfered with me trying to flirt with two different men. And I, trying to be a good teammate, was like, okay, sorry, guy who would become my ex-fiance, I gotta go help. And he was like, yeah, that's fine, I get it. And then his version of the story kicks in, that he tried to find me later and found me talking to a bunch of football players, so he got sad and walked all the way back to his apartment. It was really sad to think about. That was always really sad. And I don't particularly remember that. I obviously don't know when he was looking for me. I do remember like being in the corner talking to a couple different football players. But sometimes I wonder if that's like an implanted memory because of his memory. Anyway, so that happened, I guess, as we know, as far as we know. And then we ran into each other a few times in the dining halls that fall. And, oh, there's a cat. So for now, that is the story that you get. It is Shanna listens to her teammates. Shanna went to two parties that determined the rest of her life. And Shanna had a teammate that wouldn't stop interfering with her game. And Shanna's ex-fiancé walked home sad the night that he met her because she talked to other guys after they separated conversations. That was a terrible way to say that. But there we go. There shall be more to come.